Good morning everybody and welcome to Moneycontrol live stream. You're watching the opening bell. I'm Santosh Nair. Bulls are on a strong footing this morning following the strong gains seen in global markets both overnight as well as this morning. And the SGX Nifty futures currently are indicating a bullish start for the Indian equities. Last evening the US markets continued to rally and they had their second consecutive day of strong gains on the back of better than expected corporate earnings. And at this point Asian markets are trading firm. The only cause of concern for the Indian markets has been the consistent selling by foreign institutional investors. They were net sellers yet again on Monday, not as aggressively as was seen on Friday. However, we are still not seeing any kind of buying support coming in from the foreign institutional investors. The technical indicators for the Nifty are showing a very bullish sign, and 5 of the 6 moving average indicators are all showing a bullish trend. The next key resistance for the Nifty is right now at 18,279, which is also the 50-day moving average for the index, something which Nifty has been unable to take out in some time now. So that is a level that is being keenly watched by technical analysts. A close above that is likely to bring in more buyers into the market. In the F&O market, we are seeing build-up of long positions in futures of Coforge, Persistent System and Canfin Home. The sentiment on cement stocks has turned quite bearish. Yesterday, Ultratech shares took a pounding after weaker than expected third quarter earnings, and you are seeing build-up of short position in futures of Shree Cements, Ultratech, Dalmia Bharat, India Cements and JK Cement. And at the same time there has been short covering of positions in futures of Torrent Pharma, Intellect Design Arena and PVR. Well, with that let us move on to the newsmakers this morning, largely centered around earnings announcements. Shoppers Stop reported its third quarter numbers. Net profit is down by about 19% at 62.7 crore, while revenue rose by close to 19% at 1,137 crore. Operating profits were up about 16%, while margins showed a slight decline. They came in at 18.7% compared to 19.2% the same period last year. IIFL Securities reported a decline in its net profit. It is down by about 25% to 64.5 crore rupees compared to the same period last year. Revenues were also under pressure, down by close to about 2%. Concor reported an increase in its net profit by about 3.5% at 296 crore. Revenues also showed a modest increase, up by about 3.6% at close to 1990 crore. Operating profits were up 14% and margins also showed an improvement at 21.4% compared to 19.5%. Nomura has retained its buy rating on the stock and said that there was a slight miss both in terms of revenue as well as operating profits, but at the same time the numbers for its export and import business were largely in line with what the market was expecting. The weakness mainly has come in the domestic business, and that is what analysts will be wanting to hear, the outlook for the domestic business from the earnings call later today. CNBC TV18 has reported that Zomato has paused its 10-minute food delivery services known as Zomato Instant. And in more earnings, Butterfly Gandhimathi Appliances also reported its third quarter numbers. Net profit rose by about 29.2% and came in at 11.7 crore, whereas revenue was up just about 1% at 248.4 crores. Operating profits were up about 6% and margins also, operating margins showed a slight improvement, 8.7% versus 8.3% same period last year. Suntech Realty reported its business update for the third quarter. The company has said that pre-sales were up 12% at 396 crores, whereas collections rose by about 13% at 304 crore rupees. In hot brokerage bets, Nomura has rated L&T a buy with a price target of 2,425 rupees. Now, according to Nomura, the quarterly filings by L&T for its Hyderabad Metro and Nabha Power indicate that profitability has been improving, although Nomura has also said that as far as the trends on the debt, on the company's debt were concerned, or these projects were concerned, they showed mixed assets earmarked for exits over FY 23-26 as part of the company's strategy, and Nomura expects losses to reduce with rising ridership in the metro, and also has said that losses should reduce with infusion of 3,000 crore rupees of soft loans by the Telangana government. Well, a quick check on the market before we move on to the stocks on our watch list. Indices have opened on a firm note. The Nifty is up by 47%, whereas the sensex is up by 157 points, and in early gainers we have Infosys, ICICI Bank, Tata Motors, Ultratech Cement, all which are up by close to about 0.5% to 1%. We're seeing strength in the mid-cap index as well, with the Nifty mid-cap index up by about 65 points or roughly 0.2%, whereas Nifty Bank is showing good strength, that's up by about 158 points or roughly 0.3%. Well, and with that, let's move on to the stocks on our watch list this morning. Axis Bank is the first stock on our watch list this morning. The company reported a strong set of numbers for its third quarter, and the brokerage commentary after the third quarter earnings has been largely positive, and according to Morgan Stanley, it's been an all-round earnings beat. Net interest margins, fee income were better than expected, and also the other big positive in Axis Bank numbers were the lower than expected operating expenses. Morgan Stanley has said that retail deposits and liquidity coverage ratio are now in line with HDFC Bank and ICICI Bank, and has also UBS has pointed that higher yielding loans are growing at a much faster rate. So these are some of the positives as far as Axis Bank is concerned. Whereas at the same time, Jefferies has flagged a few concerns. It has pointed out that deposit growth has been the bank's ability to grow its low-cost deposit has been a bit of concern, and at the same time, its loan growth has been lagging those of its large-cap peers. The stock was largely unaffected by the numbers. It closed flat in a firm market on Monday. Indian Energy Exchange is the other stock on our watch list. The numbers for the third quarter were slightly disappointing. Volumes saw a dip year on year. That was largely due to the volatility in power prices. Power prices have been on the high. Power tariffs have been on the higher side, largely due to increase in coal prices. But Moneycontrol Pro is bullish on Indian Energy Exchange, and according to analyst Jitendra Gupta, the business is now seeing a gradual recovery, and contribution from other divisions are expected to protect profit and earnings. The valuations, which were about 70 times 1 year forward about 6 to 8 months back, that has now moderated considerably. The stock is now trading at 30 times 1 year forward earnings, and also in the near term, the buyback issue is expected to support the stock price. The company will be buying close to about 98 crore worth of shares at not more than 200 rupees per share, and that could provide a support for the stock. Also, the volatility in coal prices, which has been driving up the prices of power, and which is why volumes have been dropping, that could moderate a bit going forward, and things should start looking up for the company. Asian Paints is the last stock on our watch list this morning. The stock has been under pressure since the last couple of trading sessions. Its third quarter earnings missed analyst estimates, and the general feeling is that as the economy reopens, the spending on home improvements will normalize, which is a big negative for most paint companies. Also, third quarter numbers of Asian Paints show that inflation is now beginning to hurt volumes, and with competition on the rise, volumes could further get affected, volume growth could further get affected in the days ahead. At the same time, the other negative for Asian Paints is that the stock is quite expensive at about 61 times 1 year forward earnings. Well, that's all that we have in this episode of Opening Bell. Thank you for watching, and we'll be back with you again at 3:30 p.m. In the meantime, for all news, views and analysis, stay logged on to moneycontrol.com.
February 2023, the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will present the last full union budget. before 2024 elections. India's most awaited financial event comes in the midst of global slowdown, inflation, liquidity tightening, geopolitical tensions, and re-emergence of COVID-19. Will India look to fire up its manufacturing? Will India build a moat against global uncertainties? What will the budget have for the middle class? Watch the complete coverage of Budget 2023. Real-time analysis, expert takes all day on Money Control. Log on to www.moneycontrol.com for more.